Have you ever stopped for a second and looked at your life and thought, wait, who am I now?
All the time. Somewhere between raising kids, building a life, showing up for everyone else, work, family, home. We just lose little pieces of ourselves along the way.
Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It's just different.
Yeah, and it's a different, I think, enough of us just don't talk about, so we don't ever feel prepared for.
Yeah. So today we're talking about that moment when you start asking, who am I now? And how to rediscover yourself in the middle of life's beautiful chaos.
It's a beautiful chaos, this roller coaster ride. The ups, the downs are spinning all around inside. It's a beautiful chaos. Sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Have to pause, renegotiate, but with gratitude I appreciate this beautiful chaos.
Welcome to Beautiful Chaos and our episode, Who Am I Now? I'm Tammy Ramsey.
I'm Stacy Miller.
And we're going to hopefully talk about some things that you can relate to. Because I feel like, especially women, I mean, I'm sure men too, but especially us women, hit this moment in our lives at some point where we lose our identity, whether it's as a young parent or a parent with a graduating
Right.
senior.
Or going through like career changes. A lot of us go through career changes. It's really normal. I've seen some statistics. It's really normal for women, especially, to completely change their career path around 40, which worked out really well for me because that's exactly when I changed my career path. But it's really normal to change your career path at 40. And that, I think, generally lines up with the timeline when women are getting out of raising their kids to some degree. Not necessarily that they're based out of the house at 40, but maybe they're more independent by the time you're 40, or they're in high school by the time. And so your kids are finding their identity. And so you're trying to find maybe a new path for yourself as well.
Yeah, I do feel so with all of my kids, I always became very involved in whatever they were involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was involved in theater because Trishelle
Yeah.
auditioned for a play with Mrs. Klinger.
Oh, okay.
And then I ended up helping with music on a record player, and kids were like enamored. What is this? Is there a button to push? Like,
Now the record players are popular with the
I
kids. They all have
know.
vinyl at home.
it's
Maybe not
fabulous.
record players so much as the records themselves.
Yeah.
I've noticed kids will have like a collection of vinyl, but they don't actually play them or know
Really?
how to skip songs and stuff. But anyway.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, they did not know. But anyway, that was where I first got back into theater, and I did it to be involved with what my kids were involved with. And I worked too, but so whatever drives us, like for me it was my kids, and I was always involved in somehow dance also. So I ended up doing choreography for Mrs. Klinger also because I was always involved with dance stuff. But at some point, our lives shift and things change. Almost like when you're raising your kids, that you make different group of friends.
You do.
Yeah.
Based off of their friend groups or which sports or things that they're involved with. And then you end up sitting with different softball moms and soccer moms. And you do end up kind of modifying your friend groups a little bit with that.
Yeah, and there's always some that just stand out that are always there, but those are also changing things. So I think that realizing a role is changing is huge. So for me, it was every kid that graduated, there was something different about the graduation. We already talked about seasons of children's lives in the other episodes and all of that. So I'm just going to focus on what happens when your kids graduate. Because in my world, when James graduated, I had that empty nester feeling and lost who I was for a hot second.
Yeah.
Like, who am I now if I'm not James's mom?
Yeah.
And I did things. Like, we were involved in theater.
Yeah, like you did your own things, but a lot of your identity was still tied to James.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little different because thankfully I had a best friend when my kids were really little, and I was starting to get into the habit of like wrapping my world into their world and everything being about them. And she pulled me aside one day and said, you need to have your own identity, because one day these kids are going to move out. Our job is to raise them to move out. And when your kids move out, if you have spent these 18 years wrapping your whole life into their life, you're going to feel like lost. They left you. Yeah. And your goal is actually to have them leave. And so find your identity now. And that was around when Blake and Lindsay were probably about like 3 and 5-ish. And then I was a single mom for the next 11 years. And so my world really did revolve around them a ton. And like I was their soccer coach and I was their t-ball coach. And I helped with everything that I could help with when they were little. But I always had that in the back of my mind that my entire job is not just being their mom. And of course I worked in whatever and did theater, and we did have, and theater was for the kids also, but it was for me. And there was shows that I did that the kids weren't involved in. And I think that having that gift of being given that advice when they were really little gave me all of those years to not only like hold on to everything, but to know that this isn't going to last. Right. So when my kids moved out, I did okay. I mean, I definitely cried a couple of times with each kid, but I think for the most part, I mean, it also helped that I had gotten married when my kids were in high school, and I was it wasn't like we had established this whole life and then there was an empty nest. It was, we had a little couple years of chaos with everybody in the house, and then it was time for just us and our dogs. Yeah. But I kept my identity the whole time, I think. And going to school and the things that I did do for myself, I think were really important. And yeah, so it was really, depending on where you are in your life, I think you can take something very different from this podcast, because if you are still in those early years, I think it's important to maybe hear our perspective from years later and how we've redefined our identities. But also, if your kids are really little, start planting that in the back of your mind now, because it's going to make you better for the wear later, because it is hard. The silence at home is deafening when you're used to constant chaos at home and having kids running around and everybody mad at each other for who didn't turn off the bathroom light, left their dirty clothes on the floor, whatever, right? But there's a lot of other ways that we could change our roles throughout our lives. It's not just with our kids, it's also with school and career, our husbands, our goals with our spouse, because it's possible that our spouse changes our path with us and we either jump on and ride the ride or not. And in your community, how we can benefit our community and be part of it, and that can modify your title and your role as well. Right.
And I think that tying into the marriage thing, like I got really scared I had like a really weird senior year, James, because he was an early dad. So he was 17 years old when he found out that he was going to be a dad, and he quit football, quit basketball, didn't do anything. So all of a sudden I went from going to have senior year of all these sports to losing it all and feeling like I was like a widow. Yeah. Like I was personally invested in this because I sat on those benches. I froze my butt off for football.
And you want senior night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. And then, so that was like a loss. And then he moved out. And then that was a loss, even though I knew, because I told all my kids, just remember, don't let the door hit you in the tush when you leave, because you're 18, you're out, man. Yeah. I'm not your hotel motel free place to live unless you want to go to college full time. I will support you in that manner. But anyway, so that kind of shifted a lot. And then at the same time, while those things were happening, my role in the farming, ranching part of things shifted, because Louie and Trishelle came on board, and Trishelle wanted to really make her mark in ranching. Yeah. And so therefore I felt, and this is me, this wasn't her telling me, right? I felt like there can't be two hens in a hen house. You think there could, but there can't. Right. And I felt like I needed to step back and let her totally invest herself and build herself and her identity as that manager in that position, and not feel like she's trying to, has to push me out or whatever, cause any...
Or that there's oversight happening. And
Yes.
she's done amazing. She's so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So good. And she's very welcoming as far as, if she needs help, I can go and help anytime I want to, which is awesome. But I felt lost for a hot second then too. So I think that what I'd like to share with this episode is that if you take any of what we're saying and you can relate to any of it, I hope that they know that we can form this community of we're all really the same.
Right.
We have a 15-year age difference, but things that we talk about are very relatable to each other.
Absolutely.
And it's nice to know that you're not alone in your feelings.
Yeah, and I think if I wanted everyone to take something from this episode, it's going to be just to make sure that you always have something in your life that just keeps you grounded, whether it's friendships or stuff you do in the community outside of your norm, right? Outside of your job or outside of your family, that you have other things in your life that's keeping you grounded somewhere. Maybe it's through church, maybe it's through your community, maybe it's through friendships, close-knit, extended family connections, whatever that is. The more you are keeping yourself grounded, filling your cup up, the things that you're doing for yourself. We're terrible at taking care of ourselves, but the more you can make yourself a priority in certain things, then as all these life changes keep happening, you're still hanging on to your core identity.
Right. And I think it's important if you get lost in these moments to think back to prior to kids, what did I like to do? Right?
Yeah.
Like before my life became busy with running kids everywhere and being so tied to them, what were my hobbies? I love to paint, love to dance, love to sing. So, I think that it's important to go back to your beginnings, because a lot of us, we might have missed the opportunity to follow our dreams or to have hobbies because we went right from high school to college to having kids, or right from high school to having kids. So, I think that's something that was helpful for me, was to look back and go, what are the things that I enjoyed? What did I do? I can remember telling the kids, I was like, do you realize, and this was years ago, I've had raised kids for 26 years, 29 years. Well, now it's longer than that. But we went from James was still in high school to Trishelle having her first grandchild. Yeah. So we never went without kids. And so I had to give myself permission. Hey, watch our permission to rest, because we got to give ourselves permission to rest. But I had to give myself permission to find something for me. Yeah. That I enjoyed, because you can't enjoy life if you don't have something that you enjoy for just yourself, I think.
Right. Well, and I think also it's important to, maybe when you're revisiting your past and you're looking at the things you used to like to do, maybe those aren't things that will fit into your schedule anymore, or things that interest you the way that they used to. Don't be afraid to try something new either. Oh, yes. And what I love about social media, I think these days, and I know there's less and less to love about it anymore, but one thing that's nice is that groups do network on there. And so I'm constantly seeing, hey, there's this event happening. Do you want to be interested in this event? Do you want to go to this, paint pottery or this other paint and wine sip night and all these things? And I'm like, I want to do all of those things. Those all sound fun. They might not be the things that I've done in my past, but those all sound like great new things to try. Yeah. And so go to your local community park that's putting on a concert all summer and hang out with people, and you might find something to do there. Or you might walk around and see, one thing that I've seen people in this community actually do since we've started Music in the Park is see the vendors and go, I could make that, or I could sell something, or I want to put up a booth. And then they create a side hustle or their own little business of their own, and they've been coming, and now they're successful, and everyone knows them not as so-and-so from this community or so-and-so's mom, but they know them as, hey, my girl I get my wax from, or I get my earrings from, or I go to her whenever I need a new mug that says something really cute on it. So yeah, there's lots of different ways to find your niche in the world.
Yeah. And always remember that no matter, like we've talked about all along, there's seasons in life and seasons change. And it doesn't always have to, you don't have to look at it as the end of something.
Right.
You can look at it as the beginning of something new. And you're not losing yourself. You're meeting a new version of yourself, creating a new version of yourself.
Well, and I think this is a really great time to bring up something that we brought up a long time ago, which is like when I was first looking at starting college, it was very late in my life. I started going to college at 34. I graduated at 40 because we changed things a couple of times in that process. But the quote that really got me was, whatever it is you're waiting on, do it anyway, because the time's going to pass whether you do it or not. And so if you think about that quote, it doesn't matter what the thing is you want to try. Maybe you do want to go to school. Well, the next 4 years are going to pass anyway. Maybe you just want to do a really cool like certificate program that they have through like a technical school. Well, those 6 weeks are going to pass anyway, or 12 weeks or whatever it is. And so might as well just do it. And then at the end of those 6 or 12 weeks, you have something to show for it. You have a new skill. You have new accolades, whatever it is, right? Or if your next goal in life is to be, you know, regular at the gym, well, the next whatever is going to pass anyway. So let's create that new habit and start it. Or you want to be active, you want to be, you know, improve your health in whatever way. Start making those little changes every day so that you can look back in a year or look back in 2 years and go, wow, I didn't just let that time pass. I did something with it.
Yeah. I didn't just sit back. Well, and don't think about it too hard, because I always say, don't listen to the but.
Right.
Well, I could go back to school, but I don't want to work that hard. Or I could go back to school, but do I really have time?
Right.
If you just, from but on, ignore and just put your head down and do it.
Right.
Like I take online classes and I'm not going to get a certificate. I'm not going to get a degree, but I'm getting the education.
Information.
And information. Yeah. So hopefully some of what we're saying has resonated with you in some way. Hopefully you've I don't know, reach out and comment. Like say yes in our comments if you have ever felt any of these things. If you've ever felt lost, if you've ever felt like you don't know who you are and you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Gosh, maybe it's a divorce. Maybe you've gone through a ferocious divorce and you were married for 20 years and you have no idea. That's a great time to reinvent yourself.
Great clean slate. Absolutely. Yeah. And also let us know if you decide after this that you are going to say yes to something and you are going to try something new, because it's so fun to just learn something new, try something new, put yourself out there. And, you know, there's so much out in life and we have to experience as much as we can on this beautiful earth that we've been given, you know, and maybe it's just that, you know, I haven't let myself travel. And even if it's just a day trip somewhere, give yourself a good Sunday afternoon and take yourself a couple hours out of town and go to a zoo, go visit something, go somewhere, do something.
Yeah. I love it. Gosh, windsurf. I don't know. I videoed somebody windsurfing and I was like, dang, that looks fun. I mean, I'm sure it would probably be.
I bet it was fun a lot of years ago.
Yeah, a lot of years ago. I would probably try it now and be like, oh my gosh, my neck, I can't move.
Yeah.
Go to the hospital.
And then you're going to be in pain for the next 3 days.
Okay, so stupid. I'm glad I said it out loud. So I won't be windsurfing, but I have paddleboarded.
You can be on the boat watching other people windsurf.
There you go. Because just being on the boat.
What a great view.
Would be great. Yes.
Absolutely. we have to work within our parameters here, everybody. So let's be safe about what choices we're going to make.
That's right. If you're like me and you're 60, but in your mind you think you're 25, pay attention to your 60-year-old body and what it can really do and not do.
And another thing is have somebody to hang out with. And that sounds kind of funny to say it that way. But make sure that, like, your identity doesn't necessarily have to be you nourishing yourself in other ways alone. But maybe, like, Tammy and I can talk after this and be like, you know, let's do this painting class. Let's do that. Actually, we are having a craft night on Sunday.
We are.
And we're going to be painting.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever it is, like, phone a friend. Phone a friend maybe that you haven't talked to recently and say, hey, I'm thinking about taking this, like, water aerobics class. Would you come with me? Or I want to try this, you know, yoga meditation thing. Would you come with me? And maybe you're actually going to build a different friendship that you weren't expecting because you build it off of like a new adventure and a new skill that you're learning. But
Yeah.
bring somebody along with you.
I love it. Like doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Do that together. By the way, I did sign you up for water aerobics with me.
Oh, thanks.
You and Aunt Sue, but for 7:00, I'm not sure how you're going to make that work with your schedule.
No, it's fine. We got this.
There you go. So if you're in this space right now, just know that you're not alone.
Yep.
And I think that we as women and believers in uplifting, straightening each other's crowns,
Yep.
all the things that we need to just know that we're all in this together.
Yep.
And maybe the question isn't who am I, but maybe it's
Who I want to become next.
yes.
We're just given that one life, guys.
That's
Take
right.
advantage of it.
That's
Live
right.
it to the fullest.
Totally. You the thing that you're going to end up on your deathbed with is memories. It's
Yeah.
not going to be all your furniture. It's not going to be your closet full of clothes. It's not going to be all the shoes you own. It's going to be the memories that you've shared in your life. So go make some memories.
Absolutely.
And share this with a friend. If you think there's a friend that's going through this, like maybe they've got kids that are graduating, maybe they're going to be empty nesters, maybe it's their first kid that's graduating and they're feeling kind of at a loss because that kid is like the one that helps out with all the other kids.
Right. Or they're changing careers and they're starting on a brand new path. Support them. See how you can help. How can I support your business? How can I support your side hustle? Whatever it is that your friend might be going through, try and find a way to help support them in that.
Yeah, that's great. And then don't forget to subscribe so that you will know what's coming next because you will get notified as soon as we have a new episode out every
Yay,
Monday.
Every Monday.
Yep.
So
So
we'll
stay
see you next time.
See you next time and stay empowered. Well, we almost had it.
See you next